Broken Arrow 911. Hello?
Hello.
Hi, where are you at?
Broken Arrow, Oklahoma 7411.
What address?
709 Magnolia Court.
Okay. Are you the only one there?
No, my brother's attacking my family.
Your dad is attacking your family?
No, my brother. He has a 9-day feeling. Oh, millions of people died.
Okay, who's attacking your family?
What?
Who's attacking your family?
Yes.
Who is it? Do they
I'll call them.
Are you there?
Hello?
Hi, what's going on there? What's going on there? Hello? Hello?
This is the bone-chilling 911 call made by 12-year-old Daniel Bever, where he tells dispatch that his brothers, Robert, aged 18, and Michael, aged 16, were brutally attacking the family. Dispatchers were able to locate the address and sent officers to the location. Now, before we delve into the horrors and details of what occurred on the night of July 22, 2015, in a Broken Arrow home, we need to take a deep dive into what led these two teenagers to commit such heinous acts of violence on their own family. According to neighbors, the Bever family had homeschooled their kids and had isolated them from interacting with other neighbors and children. The family was so isolated that some neighbors only found out their full names of the family after the medical examiner released reports. However, many neighbors came forward to report strange and unsettling behavior by the two assailants, Robert and Michael. Now, while the media and the neighbors have caused speculations to swirl, let's take a look at what really occurred on that fateful night. At around 11:30 p.m., police were alerted to 709 Magnolia Court after receiving a crazy 911 phone call made by 12-year-old Daniel Bever, who stated that his brothers were attacking the family. By the time the police arrived, they saw blood all around the porch of the house. Moments after knocking on the door, they heard a faint voice crying out for help and immediately forced their way into the residence. That is where they discovered 13-year-old Crystal Bever bleeding after sustaining multiple stab wounds. After managing to stabilize and remove Crystal from the house, police stumbled on the most grisly and heartbreaking scene. They discovered the 911 caller from earlier, Daniel, and 4 other members of the Bever family who had all points succumbed from their extensive injuries. Miraculously, 2-year-old Autumn Bever was found alive and unharmed, which begged the question, where were Robert and Michael, the only 2 members who were unaccounted for at that point? Luckily for detectives, Crystal managed to survive even with her critical injuries and was able to identify her brothers, Robert and Michael, as the assailants responsible for this heinous crime. According to Crystal's statement, her brothers lured her into one of the bedrooms under false pretenses before slitting her throat and stabbing her in both her stomach and arms. It was later reported that the 2 suspects had panicked and fled out the back into a wooded area behind the property. Ultimately, they were captured quickly and arrested without incident, even though Robert was armed. According to a close source, one of the brothers immediately confessed that the detailed plans for the killings was on a flash drive in the home, which police later retrieved. As details began being made public, it was determined that the diabolical duo planned to make 2 graphic videos, one depicting the bodies of their family members for the investigators and prosecution, and another without the bodies to be distributed online. Authorities have since referred to these killings as the worst single criminal event in Broken Arrow history. The brothers were arraigned on the 3rd of August, and, to everyone's surprise, both pleaded not guilty. Robert eventually changed his plea to guilty on all counts and was sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole. Michael, on the other hand, went ahead with his trial and was later sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole.
Broken Arrow brothers charged with killing 5 members of their family will spend the rest of his life in prison. No chance of parole for Robert Bever. Fox 23, the first station to cut into programming this afternoon when he pleaded guilty and was sentenced.
It's the move that caught many off guard.
I think it's unexpected.
Robert Bever pleading guilty to the murders of his parents and 3 siblings Wednesday afternoon.
Our client probably will have a easier life in the penitentiary than he had at home.
For neighbor Julie Wallace, the news comes as...
I think it's a relief. It's a relief for the neighborhood.
Wallace, who lives just 2 doors down from the home where the violent murders took place back in 2015, says she's surprised by what happened inside of the courtroom.
I think it's the right thing for him to do because he's obviously guilty.
With his plea deal, Bever will not have to face the death penalty.
The determining factor for me was I have a surviving teenage young girl and a toddler, and those children deserve a life, and I am not going to saddle them with what I know the reality of a death penalty case to be.
It's a move Wallace agrees with.
To force her to testify against her brothers to, for a death sentence it's just putting her through more.
She says the neighborhood can now start to heal from the tragedy, but knows it won't come soon.
For all of us in the neighborhood, I believe, as long as that house stands, it's probably always going to be there.
As long as a huge reminder still stands.
This case sparked the curiosity of the nation due to many questions that were left unanswered. However, some years later, YouTuber named Phil Chalmers managed to do a telephonic interview with Robert from the Joseph Harp Correctional Center, where he's currently serving out his sentence.
So the chances of you getting out, unless there's a miracle, you're probably not going to get out, right?
Exactly, yeah.
How do you deal with that? How do you have to come to terms with that? Do you have to settle with that? Like this is going to be your reality for the rest of your life?
Well, I mean, I'm pretty good at adapting to situations. When I was younger, all I really wanted was one room that I could do everything in and live in all the time, and now I have it. So it's actually been really easy for me in prison. I guess I spend a lot of time inside my head, and so I'm not really worried about it. But, as far as thinking of it as punishment, I would have considered the death penalty punishment. I don't consider this punishment. I consider it a safety precaution, because I'm not a functioning member of society. So I'm okay with it, though. I try not to think about it too much. There was this OG who died recently. He'd been in for 50 years, and he told me just don't think about it. Otherwise, they'll drive you up the wall.
Drive you crazy, right?
Yeah.
So I talk a lot about warning signs, and I'm really into trying to stop teen violence, and I talk a lot about the causes, the triggers, and the things. And you and I have chatted before, and you said there were some things that happened in your life that were warning signs, but your parents didn't take them serious. What were a couple of those incidents that happened, and what should have been a warning sign?
I mean, when I was younger, I never looked up to the people who committed mass murders or serial killers or anything, but I tried to write stories about them, and it was supposed to be from a point of view that these people are really fucked up and evil. But I was just, I wrote a book called How to Shoot Up Your School and Get Away with It when I was like 13.
Mm-hmm.
And I showed it to my parents, and they were like, no, you need to get rid of this. This is wrong. And they were concerned that the police would find it and I'd get put on some kind of watch list.
Mm-hmm.
I used to write songs and poetry that were really dark and talked about murder and stuff like that, killing people, killing myself. And I went through what I thought was an emo phase where I was studying myself.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess I didn't know that I wasn't doing it for the normal reasons a normal teenager would, because I got a serrated blade. I would be sawing at my skin, and apparently that's not normal. Armor and stuff. They were asking my brothers if I had bought any guns. They tried to talk to me about it, but I'd get real hostile with them, and so I think they knew something was going to happen. I just don't think they thought it was going to be them.
Did you ever threaten to kill anybody? Because that's a big warning sign. Did you ever say to your parents, I'm going to kill you?
No, my parents would not have allowed that.
Okay.
That would have, like, they would have made my life a living hell if I had done that. But when I was a later teenager, I had friends, if they were, like, being bullied or something, I'd be like, look, man, you want me to kill this person? I wanted to really badly. I was serious. And so there were I wanted to, but not my parents.
That's a warning sign as well. So on July 22nd, 2015, you and your brother, your younger brother, it seems like you guys had a plan to maybe carry out a school shooting or a mass murder. Was that one of your fantasies before you did this crime? Were you thinking about being a school shooter or mass murder, breaking the Columbine record? Talk to us about that.
Yeah. I was not really intending for my family to get killed at first, and they just kind of became the first step in this really complicated plot that I was putting together on how I could kill as many people as possible and, like, set records and, you know, just horrify millions of people. And my idea was I was going to, like, pick restaurants and schools and movie theaters, go in, shoot it up, then get back in our family vehicle and drive away and become, like, a serial mass murderer. Because I had never heard that before, so that's what I was trying to do.
But why did you never do that? Like, why did you start with your family? I have a hard time dealing with feelings of resentment towards my parents. And so, you know, I had kind of a dysfunctional family, and you know, it got to the point where my morals were so gone, and I was so twisted on this idea of killing people that I was like, I'm going to start right here. Your sister was stabbed and her throat was cut and she survived.
Yes.
And then you had a 2-year-old sister who you just, the story says you forgot about her, but I think you decided to let her live, right?
Yeah, I did. I was trying to figure out, because I didn't expect to be caught, I was trying to figure out whether I should leave her with a neighbor, but then I didn't want them coming over to our house to see why she was there, if they recognized her.
Gotcha.
Something about leaving her at a police station. I just didn't know what to do.
You thought you'd initially get away with it, but one of your siblings called the police from, like, a bathroom, and that's why they were there.
Yes. And one of the things that they were trying to explain to me, my brother's attorney was trying to explain to me, was that he said it sounded like my brother saw me or something and ran away from the phone. And I tried to say, no, that was the phone moving away from him. But the more I think about it, I think, I think him and my brother Michael, Daniel and my brother Michael, had called the police, and they were standing in the kitchen. And when I came back into the house, Michael was still standing there with the phone. My brother Daniel ran and hid, and when I started coming towards him, Michael threw the phone on the ground and smashed it to pieces.
Based on Phil Chalmers' interview with Robert, as well as the video in general, what do you think about this case? Let us know down below. Thank you for watching, and I'll catch you next time for our next true crime story.